Yada da 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 do 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 do. Ah, 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 ah. Do, 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 do. Alrighty, hey, what's going on, everybody? Enter ChazmaN here, back with another rendition episode. What is this now? 14 of Enter ChazmaN Live. If you don't know, this is kind of my opportunity weekly to sit down with you guys and just kind of chill, watch some videos, and kind of react to some things. I will be completely honest with you guys, just to set expectations. I don't think, at least for me, there was like no major news, internet drama-wise, across any of the things I pay attention to. So this might be a shorter video stream, but I got a couple videos pulled up that I just kind of browsed YouTube, and I was like, some of these look kind of interesting, and I might want to react to them. But yeah, really nothing major. At least in my opinion, I didn't see anything crazy that's kind of going on. So honestly, most of the crazy stuff going on is more political, and I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna. I don't know. Maybe eventually ChazmaN will start. Maybe I'll make my own political channel years from now, but I'm good. I'd rather stick to just like internet drama here, stick to gaming on my main stuff, and we'll see. Maybe in my senior years, I'll start throwing my politics everywhere, all willy nilly, just saying whatever comes to my mind. Not this day. But yeah, like I said, I've been paying attention a lot to the drama channels and stuff, and there's like a couple of things, but really nothing crazy. I feel like needs, I don't know, my opinion on, that I'm like super interested in. So I got a couple videos. Why don't we go ahead and just jump into the first one? First off, we're going to be watching a video by GamerRanks. If you haven't heard of GamerRanks, they're a very big YouTube channel. They've been around for a long time, and they just had a little video that says 10 games that aged like fine wine. And I'm kind of curious to see what games they're talking about that they think have aged well. I mean, I can already venture to guess what games will be there, but I like videos like this, just kind of seeing what people think of like old school video games. So hey, Skylar Twilight's in chat. What's up, Skylar? Thank you so much for joining. But yeah, like I said, honestly, the couple videos I have are like more world oriented and then two video games. So like I said, I mentioned I don't have much for you guys today in terms of like major story. So if, again, in the Discord or in the chat here, throw any topics you think I might be interested in, and I'll take a look and see if there's something I might be worth watching. But as for myself, I just got a couple videos, and honestly, I'm okay. If we keep it short, we're going to be playing Persona 3 after this anyway, so I'm perfectly fine with that. But alright, so let's go ahead and jump in the first video. GamerRanks, like I said, very popular YouTube channel. They've been around for a while, and they've got a fun little video here that's, again, it's 10 video games that have aged like fine wine, and I'm kind of just curious to see what video games they are talking about here. Alright, make sure I got this on the right one. Booyah. Turn that on. Make sure my desktop audio is on. I can turn off the banner. I can turn off the background music. Alright, we're good. Alright, so background music, banners off. If you guys could, let me know how audio is going to sound here. And let's check out this video and see what video games they're talking about that have aged really well, because I would love to hear what their opinions are.
All creative work has a shelf life, and all art of any kind made now is in some way affected by, contextualized by, or straight up about now. Even the most timeless of works intrinsically relate to the author or authors and the time the work exists in, but sometimes stuff just holds up. Video games are no different. Some of them stand the test of time, and that's what we want to talk
games.
about today. Hi folks, it's
Fear.
Today on Game Rings, 10 games that have aged like fine wine. Starting off with number 10, it's Portal 1 and 2. It's kind of crazy how
Portal 1 and 2.
If they were made today, they would probably feel just about the same, and they came out back in 2007 and 2011. First, Portal is old enough to vote, but you'd barely be able to tell other than the fact that it uses the Half-Life 2 engine. And I mean, a lot of modern games are still made using Source. People are still using Source Filmmaker to make YouTube videos and stuff. It may look dated, but it feels contemporary because it feels like a style.
So I gotta agree with this guy on GamerRanks. I freaking love Portal 1 and 2. I've definitely the one I've played the most is Portal 1. Portal 2, it's been quite a long time since I've played. I've actually been trying to push my buddy Phoenix on the channel here to try and jump on with me and to try and do a co-op stream of Portal 2. Again, that's something me and him have never done. Is actually like I've beaten Portal 2, but I've only beaten it solo. And again, I've been trying to do it for content. I've been trying to get him to do a stream where we play it together, on co-op. Uh, Fantastic games. I've beaten Portal 1 probably 5, 6 times. It's a very fun short game. Honestly, you can beat Portal 1 in one you can beat Portal 1 in one stream if you have played it before, and then kind of run through. Maybe I'm due for another. I feel like I've streamed that on the channel in the very early days of my channel. I think I did that where I beat it all in one stream, and fantastic game. Love Portal 1. I agree with him. Portal 1 great. I'm trying to think. Yeah, What are we talking about, says Veronica? Well, okay, so Veronica Rose, what's up in chat? Oh, Odin Salty is there. Odin Salty says, I have Portal 2 on my online Xbox library. Fantastic game. I can't recommend those enough. Veronica Rose, I'll be honest, I don't have any major topics for today, so I pulled up a couple of videos. The first one I pulled up, this one is a channel called Gamer Ranks, and they're just talking about 10 games that have aged like fine wine. And the very first game that they started talking about is Portal 1 and 2. I do think maybe we're due a Portal 1 playthrough again on the channel. Again, I streamed it on the channel very early on when I like first started doing game streaming. And I guarantee you, I may have played that and not even like had a camera at that time. I may have only had a microphone. If you see on some in my channel and like the very early days when I did some like super early streams, I think I streamed A Nightmare Before Christmas, the first Mass Effect. And when I first started the channel, I didn't even have a camera. All I had was like a crappy snowball mic. And yeah, come a long way. I feel like I've actually got some good, better quality recording devices here. But yeah, kind of funny. But yeah, Portal, great game. Let's see what else we're gonna delve into. Uh-oh, you monster.
Why these games feel so timeless is the gameplay. They're brilliantly designed.
So that's
puzzle
Portal
games that
2.
make incredible use of a simple but yet kind of mind-blowing gimmick.
Portal 2
The
is so
portals were
freaking good.
impressive back then, and they still kind of low-key impress even now. It helps that very few games have ever really tried to replicate Portal, so the gimmick still is pretty fresh. The presentation.
That's true. I never thought about that. There really hasn't been anybody to really try and replicate what Portal was doing.
These games makes them fun to go back to even after you know how to solve all the puzzles.
For your own safety and the safety of others, please refrain from... Turn back.
For most games like this, there's little reason to go back and replay them after you finish, but with Portal, and especially Portal 2, there's enough variety and humor to keep the experience feeling fresh and fun. Portals are just cool, too. It's mind-blowing tech back in 2007. It's still an impressive novelty today. Something else with enough variety and humor to keep the experience fresh. Hopefully.
That is totally crazy. Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, the fact that nobody has really tried to duplicate or to make a game of the sort that is very much like Portal. Not saying that I would like for anyone to, because I love Portal, but like the further away we do get, Portal is a super unique game or series, two games. Just super unique, super crazy. GLaDOS is one of the best characters in all of like games, I would say. I played Portal ripoff on Roblox one time. It's actually pretty good considering it's a Roblox game. I think it's called Tunneler. Okay. I may play it. We may play it again here very soon, maybe in the next month or two. I would absolutely love to replay Portal 1. If some of you haven't experienced Portal 1, some of the best dialogue and like you'll love GLaDOS immediately. GLaDOS is like one of my favorite characters. Great series.
Is Game Ranks, which we want to ask you to subscribe, because believe it or not, most people watching are not subscribed right now. We do everything we can to make good stuff, and your subscription helps us make more of it. So hopefully it helps you see some stuff you want to see. Thank you very much for that subscription, and let's get back to it.
No problem. I'm subscribed to you, Gamer Ranks. Don't worry.
Of course, he couldn't come because you murdered him. All your other friends couldn't come.
And number 9 is Fear.
Oh, we just spoiled it. I think the playback speed's too fast. This is a series I've never played. If you guys would like to, hold me to the fire. I would love to play the series Fear eventually. If you don't know, there were there's technically 4 Fear games if you count the mobile crappy one. But technically there's Fear 1, 2, and 3. I would 100% love to play. I've never played Fear. And if you don't know, Fear is like the they're like 360 era horror games, but they're horror games that are set in like an action shooter like gameplay, which is really weird. I mean, you'll see. But yeah, they're really cool. Like they all center around this little girl that's like a ghost or something like that, but she has abilities, and you just play like a soldier, and it's really
This
cool.
FPS from
I've
the
never played
all-time
these.
greats at Monolith, RIP, more clearly shows its age than something like Portal. It's more of a traditional FPS game, so there's cutscenes that involve getting a nice big close-up of mid-2000s character models.
Some secrets get buried deeper than others, but I know where to dig.
No, wait, you've got the wrong guy!
Hush now, Mr. Moody.
These potato-faced weirdos aren't fooling anybody. It's a telltale sign of an old shooting game. Character models may not hold up, and the environment...
Odin Salty says Splitgate did a similar Portal concept, but it was a shooter game. Too bad it fell off really hard a while back, I see.
Mental design is pretty blocky, but the part that matters most, the actual shooting stuff part, still holds up in a big way. For a 20-year-old game, the combat remains some of the best ever in a single-player FPS. The way enemies would shout out what you're doing and actually seem to have some tactics put them well above most enemy AI, even in games
like I know the game looks like a shooter, but the story it's like a horror game in a way.
And some of the effects are still more.
You'll see we'll see the character that I'm talking
today.
about.
Stuff like making it so lights actually cast rays even when you shoot them and make them shake. It's not difficult to do today, but it was crazy difficult back then, and you really don't see developers showing off like this anymore. The shooting is still some of the best ever, and it's kind of bizarre.
Unless my memories are bad. I always thought it looks like it's more of a shooter than scary, but I could have sworn there were horror elements to it.
Game Trepang 2, which is awesome. Don't get me wrong. I'll bring up Trepang 2 whenever I can. But that's pretty much it. And the thing with Fear is that it is not a perfect game. It does have some boring parts. The environmental design is pretty drab, but none of that really matters once the action
You're not
starts.
showing the girl.
Even now,
But I
something
thought the girl was like a big
has
part
yet
of this
to
game.
been able to match it in pure adrenaline and satisfaction. It's one of those games that just feels sublime to play, and that holds up better than almost anything.
Well, I guess
out
he's
there.
just focusing on the age-old aspect of it, which is the gameplay, which makes it a fine wine. I got it.
And number 8 is
Okay.
The Witcher 3.
Well, they're supposed to
Can
be
you believe
scary
this
if
game
you
is
haven't played 'em.
decade old? Feels like one of those games that's just perpetually a few years old. But time
Let me see if I have my copies. I have my copies behind me somewhere. Odin Salty in chat says it looks like Doom 3, where it's kind of both horror and shooter in a great in a way. I 100% Odin. I'm 100% with you. That is kind of the vibe that I again, I've never played them, so I can't say for sure, but what the heck just happened? My monitor went off for a sec. Weird. That is always the vibe I very much got from that series as well. Here are my copies of, oh gosh, I smacked my mic. My copies of Fear. I've got First Encounter Assault Recon. So there's my 360 copy of Fear 1. Here's my copy, Fear 2 Project Origin. And then Fear 3, or just called Fear 3. So again, there's like a very it's like horror, maybe like a psychological, or not psycho. I don't know. I don't know what the game's about. I really would like to play them at some point. If you don't know, a funny is there was a fourth game I mentioned that was mobile. It was a mobile game. I'm trying to remember what it was about. Was it like... I remember it got made to try and mirror some other popular franchise, and it did terribly. It did like really badly. Let me look at it. It's gonna bother me now because now I want to remember it. I don't remember what the purpose of that game was. Fear mobile game. So the game was called Fear Creepy Scream House. Fear Creepy Scream House. Huh. Yeah, apparently this game was like super bad. Not super bad. Here it is, just so you can see I'm not, just so I'm not lying. This game like did terribly. Nobody played it. I think it got canceled like very quickly. I think this is like, they made this like in the early days of the iPhone, I think. Yeah, I just remember vividly. It came out on iPhone or something. And I don't think like anybody played those. So from what I recall, holy wow, the frame rates in front. Yeah, not a looker, that game. It's funny how many game franchises just have a forgotten mobile game that they kicked under a rug, says Odin. Yeah. I think from what I recall, the thing that it's bright. The thing that people criticized the most about the game is apparently, if I remember, um like routinely when you'd be playing the game, they kept trying to get like gotcha scaries from you. So like there were, you would be walking around and a face would just pop in the middle of the screen and go ah, and it would go away. And apparently that happened like all the time. And I remember people just like criticized it. I'm trying to find a game of somebody playing it. I don't know. I'm probably digging too deep, but yeah, this was not. It was not a very popular game. Kind of funny. All right, so back to the video. So yeah, they're talking about what the next one would be, The Witcher. Are they talking about the series as a whole or just Witcher 3?
Is finally starting to catch up with CD Projekt Red's 2015 masterpiece. The first two Witcher games were solid efforts, but the jump in quality from those games to this one cannot be understated. The Witcher 3 was a real kick in the pants for the whole industry, not just the Witcher series. From
Witcher 3 is so freaking good.
Company that just came out of nowhere and is now putting out games that the rest of the AAA gaming industry wishes they could put out. Well, maybe not at launch, but Cyberpunk 2077, you can't argue with the behemoth that is that game. In some ways, everybody's still trying to catch up.
I still haven't played Project
or this game, though.
Cyberpunk.
Most modern open world games owe some debt to The Witcher 3. It's a game everyone wants to make, but nothing else is quite as idiosyncratic or as ambitious. It's essentially an open world game with action game combat. The combat is probably where The Witcher 3 holds up the least. It's not terrible or anything, but it's clearly made by a dev without a lot of action game experience.
Witcher 3 is so freaking good, man. I would love to replay the Witcher series eventually.
I kind of think that makes it interesting, personally. I'm certainly never going to tell people it's the most...
I need to get Cyberpunk for my Xbox. It looks really good now, says Odin. Yeah, I skipped it because I was worried about the launch stuff, but apparently that game is like really good now.
Open world games. It's a little floaty, a little loose, but I mean, to have this big of a game, both in actual scope and in cultural reception, have such an idiosyncratic aspect to it that is just, there's not really anything else on that level that's like it. It doesn't even necessarily need to be because it's good. It's just, it's different. I would say that it's good. It's certainly not great, but it's good. But in truth, the thing that makes Witcher 3 stand
Story.
out is the details.
Yeah.
The game is absolutely stacked.
The
with
dialogue, the
details,
story,
unique character
everything else kind of
interactions,
revolving
funny or
around the
unusual
game.
bits of dialogue, easy to miss secrets and alternative quest resolutions. On top of all that, the game mostly holds up pretty well graphically too. The way the game goes for a sort of heightened realism works in its favor.
It's kind of cool how in The Witcher, like a lot of times, because Geralt is the Witcher, it's so cool how there's moments where you'll come in, well, he'll, like, he's kind of a benevolent, nah, he's not benevolent, but, like, I think what I'm getting at is there are times when, like, you would think he'll be, like, offensive or be, like, mean to, like, a monster or something that he comes across. And there's so many times where, like, based on your, like, dialogue and stuff, like he's, like, a monster himself, so, like, there's moments where he is almost kind and, like, understanding towards whatever the beast is sometimes. Granted, there are also times when he just flat out, like, if you want to, you can just flat out just go right into attacking things. But I don't know. I love Geralt.
Realistic, while also having a little bit of a stylized appearance that manages the increasingly outdated graphics. Again, it comes off a bit as a style, and because of that, it does a better job holding up. It does help that this is one of the most bespoke, carefully crafted open worlds ever. It's a mix of art design and technical prowess that makes The Witcher's visuals look fantastic to this day, especially to this day when the frame rate is a conversation that is long ended. The game was such a revelation that it really was just a tough act to follow. Cyberpunk struggled under its shadow initially, at least, and no matter how good The Witcher 4 ends up being, it's gonna get compared to The Witcher 3. I think it will ultimately probably be
my PC is definitely not going to run Witcher 4 when it comes out.
Be a real behemoth as well, but no matter how great it is, it can't be the thing to gaming that Witcher 3 was. Witcher 3 changed a lot of things. It's because of the standard by which all other open world games are measured against, and even now most don't compare favorably to it.
I want The Witcher as well. I saw that they had a next gen update for it. I did a reaction on this channel reacting to The Witcher 4 gameplay demo that they did.
What's so
really good looking.
First PlayStation 3 entry to the
I've never
long-running
played a
Ratchet
Ratchet and
and
Clank
series
game.
that
I would
feels
love
like
to
it
play a
could have
Ratchet and
come out
Clank
10
game at
years
some
later,
point.
and it would be almost indistinguishable.
I own a bunch
You
of
can
Ratchet
barely
and Clank
tell the game
games.
Came out in 2007. It's practically old enough to drive, but you'd hardly know it. I mean, the lack of fancy shader effects gives it away at least a little bit, but the animation quality and the art design still hold up spectacularly. The thing about the Ratchet and Clank games is that they're all pretty much the same past the second one that included strafing. They've been all pretty much the same thing from there, only slightly updated to keep up with the times. I mean, look at the latest game and compared to this one. Obviously, the newest game is light years ahead in terms of tech, but gameplay-wise, they're pretty much the same. The only major difference is that Rift Apart has a dash and portals. The portals are crazy in that game. Different than the portals.
I've heard these
but
games are
crazy
so
nonetheless.
good. Yeah, like I said, I've
Gameplay,
never
though,
played one of
always
these.
simple and
This is
easy.
really a
That's what makes it
series
so timeless. You run around levels
really
and
should have
blast
played some of
everything that
these.
moves, and a lot of other stuff that doesn't. It's classic and it works. There's a reason these games keep getting made. There's an elemental pleasure to them that, at least for a lot of people, never really gets old. So it doesn't matter.
How's the
how many
audio?
times they
Audio
keep
seem
repeating
good?
the formula. They've done.
Is my
enough
audio too loud, or
as
is the
games
game,
progressed.
the video audio
They've
need to be
touched the
louder?
Things that can use it, level design, technology, and they've left the stuff that should be left alone. The gameplay. It's great gameplay. And while the PlayStation 2 games were impressive for their time, they do show signs of age. They look old, even if when you're actually playing them.
Yeah, I think that's the ones I have the most of is the PlayStation 2 games. I've got, gosh, probably 4 or 5 different Ratchet and Clank, I think, PS2 games. Some of them might be duplicates, but audio's good to Zoden? Okay, I appreciate you. Yeah. Again, this is a series I'm honestly ashamed that I've kind of never delved into.
3 entries, though, is that even though they're pretty long in the tooth, they look amazing. The updated character designs and the greatly improved animation really go a long way toward making these games feel timeless. Future looks incredible, and the sequel, A Rift in Time, looks even better. People were saying these games look like live-action Pixar movies back in the late 2000s, and honestly, they still hold up to that statement. Maybe not today's Pixar movies, but certainly Pixar movies from some era. The cutting-edge graphics at the time, plus the timeless gameplay, make the games just hold up really well today.
Alright, when is he going to talk about Bioshock? Because I know Bioshock's going to be up here.
And number 6 is Ori and the Blind Forest. Practically cheating with this one.
Okay, I've never played this series either. I've heard these games are really good. I heard they're very hard.
To this day, one of the most beautiful side scrollers ever made. The art design.
I've heard these games are very hard, very kind of like
What's especially impressive.
Very Hollow Knight difficulty-wise.
Integrate with the painted backdrops. In most games, a 3D character mixed with 2D elements feels jarring, but they managed to make it look totally natural here. Honestly, after having
I have always thought that these games look very beautiful. If you've never seen Ori, I think it's Blind Forest is one, and then Will-O-Wisp, I think, is the next one. But if you've never seen them, they're like pretty gorgeous games. Very good looking. Played a little bit of Ori, but never played much Sudoden. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like they're a series that a lot of people have kind of slept on a little bit. Like, again, I'm even admitting I've never played them.
I forgot that they did that, and coming back to it, I mean, it looks like it could have come out yesterday. People would be singing the praises of its visual design, certainly, if it came out yesterday. And on top of that, the original Ori is just a damn good game. It's not like incredibly innovative or doing anything especially new outside of opening the game with an extended cutscene that'll make even the most glassy-eyed sociopath react for a box of tissues. That's a new idea, I guess, introducing some kind of emotional narrative to what is otherwise pretty conventional Metroidvania. Keep in mind that this came out before the huge surge of Metroidvanias. They were popular, but Hollow Knight didn't come out until 2017, and that's years after this game was published. Hollow Knight was, I mean, that's the true oversaturation of the genre right there. That's the beginning. So even though it was a game made before the big resurgence, I would say...
He was throwing some shade at Hollow Knight there. I know those games are super popular as well. Goodness.
And number 5 is World in Conflict, a Cold War
World in
RTS that holds up
Conflict?
for a
I've never
lot
even heard of
reasons.
this.
For one, it was an innovator in the RTS space right around the time the bottom fell out.
That's why it's an RTS.
Feels
That's
pretty
why I probably
modern
haven't heard of
today,
it.
Simply because the big budget real-time strategy games just started dying out. Nobody was really trying to be cutting edge with these games anymore. Instead, they were just trying to chase an increasingly dwindling audience with nostalgia. StarCraft 2 pretty much plays like StarCraft 1. Same goes for the last remaining Command & Conquer games, except that last one we don't talk about. The very last one. World in Conflict was actually doing something completely new by having an actual functional camera and making the game tactical but accessible.
Fall back now, Parker! That artillery is closing in!
The multiplayer was fun, but it tells this Cold War narrative about the U.S. getting invaded, which sounds like it could easily lean into Red Dawn levels of schlock. But the weird thing is, the game mostly plays the scenario straight. Feels more realistic and believable than these stories usually go. With strong characters, excellent cutscenes.
It does look fun.
It just blows away any other RTS ever made. It's far more cinematic than it has any right to be. It's also paced excellent. It's got the forward momentum of a Call of Duty campaign, but with a little more heart and intelligence than you'd expect from something like this. It's a special game. It was able to combine production values that were excellent for their time and still hold up for this type of game, especially today, with fun gameplay that keeps you engaged without making the act of playing too much of a chore. Also, there's airstrikes. There's tons of airstrikes. There's few things as satisfying as blowing up entire columns of tanks with single, well-timed bombing runs. This game makes RTS fun in a way few games have managed before or since. And number 4 is Batman Arkham Asylum. Rocksteady's game was revolutionary.
Oh my
back in
goodness, the
2009
Arkham
and holds
games.
up shockingly well today. Depending on who you ask, they might even say the original game has held up better than the sequels. There's zero bloat with this game.
Games
no
are
open
so
world stuff to slow you down.
good.
Just a single island with a perfect.
I'm so glad we did those replays earlier. What was it, last year we did them?
What strikes me the most is just how weird it is. The design
Played all of them.
decisions
It was
are
so much
crazy.
fun
The
to
way
replay
Batman
those.
moves the environment, etc. But it all just works absolutely perfectly. The combat and stealth are the top of the line stuff here, but the game doesn't just rely on that to work. The whole thing is a perfectly streamlined entertainment machine designed to keep you hooked.
Freaking, it's one of my favorite video game series ever. I love these games.
Even people who barely care about Batman get sucked in by this.
I just beat Arkham Asylum and Arkham City recently, and it's so good. It's his
It
Hoden.
does slightly
Yeah, we did
start
an
to run on
entire
Steam near the
playthrough. I
end
think
when
last
there's,
year,
like,
right,
one
where
boss fight
I on
goes
stream I
really
played
long. But the design
Through
of the
all of them, or
asylum
was it this
itself
year?
is-
I can't
is
remember.
Crazy good. The
It might have been this
character
year.
models are great. The story
Well,
is
we played
fun.
through, what,
It's a great
1, 2,
excuse for a bunch of
3,
villains to be around,
Origins.
including some memorable turns from the Scarecrow.
We even played
There's
the
only 2 actual Scarecrow segments in Asylum, but each one is extremely memorable. And
Oh gosh, what was the other
extremely
series called?
expertly crafted. It's stuff like
The
that,
Telltale
and the Riddler
Batman games.
trophies.
Are you enjoying the extra dose, little bat?
And just the many weird little things they do to play with your expectations that give this game and its sequels so much life. A lot of games have tried to copy the combat system, which is of course excellent, simple, and satisfying, but it's all the little details that made the Rocksteady Batman game so great. These things are clearly a labor of love from a developer who had a whole lot of ideas and managed to use them in a way that's really, really fun. And number 3, it's Dishonored. They don't get a lot better than
Dishonored,
The
okay.
original game is just pitch perfect. And while the
Okay,
graphics,
so
they're kind
Dishonored is a game I have tried before. I tried playing Dishonored 1, and I could not, for the life of me, get into these games. I don't know what it is. You would think, as someone who's a big, like, Bioshock fan, like the art style and everything, plays very much like it's in my wheelhouse. Wheelhouse? I don't even know what the term is. Maybe. You would think it would be like the type of game that I would be drawn to, but I just could not get into. Kevin Conroy's the best Batman voice, in my opinion, says Odin. Working on playing through Arkham Knight, I gotcha. I could not get into Dishonored. I don't know what it was about the series. I played 1. I think I might have finished 1, and then I started 2, and I just played it for like half an hour, and I was like, oh, I don't know. These games are like really, like a lot of people really like them, so that's why I'm so surprised that I don't know. I had something about them I couldn't really get
showing
into.
their age. I don't know, and that really depends on how you look at it. I return to it and just, again, it feels stylistic. But you're not playing it for the graphics. You're playing it because it's got a simple, timeless story. You're out to get revenge against all the people that accused you of a crime you didn't commit. And you're doing it one target at a time with a bunch of really impressive movement and assassination powers. Each mission has a target you can either kill or neutralize in some other less violent way, which often seems worse, but that's besides the point. The game gives you a lot of options for how you want to achieve your goals in any given mission. Each level is a sprawling collection of paths that can be navigated slowly and carefully using stealth to remain undetected, or you can just charge through like a madman, killing everyone in sight. With some crazy powerful abilities that are granted by a godlike being called the Outsider, missions can be completed in minutes or take hours depending on how thorough you want to be. You basically define your own difficulty if you want to go through the game as stealthily as possible. It's going to be harder than just embracing your abilities and cutting a bloody swath through the city of Dunwall. One way the game discourages you from going too crazy is there's a karma system that eventually affects the final mission and ending of the game. If you indiscriminately kill everything, you'll increase the overall chaos, and that makes the plague worse, so you can play more carefully, mostly knock people out instead of killing them. That results in a more peaceful city, as well as fewer swarms of rats and zombies wandering around. It's a cool idea that, some people don't like all that much because the system doesn't really make a lot of sense, but who cares? It's an interesting bit of interactivity that completely changes what the final mission looks like. The thing that ultimately makes Dishonored work isn't the systems or story or even special abilities. All that stuff is really good, but what really defines the game is it is best-in-class level design. That's the part of the game that has stood the test of time more than anything else. The missions are brilliant, unique, they feel like real places with a touch of surreal whimsy. They're fantastic. Everything about this game is fantastic.
Oh, leave him be. It's a party.
This is a private conversation. Bless you.
And number 2 is Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. Take pretty much any of the better Mario games. I'm not talking about stuff like Mario is Missing. And you got a
Interesting choice to go with Mario
The
Galaxy.
NES and SNES games have a timeless.
Because we recently played through Mario Galaxy 1, and if you guys don't remember, I didn't like...
A little bit more
I
complicated.
didn't
Some
love
Mario
Mario
64
Galaxy
might be
1.
tougher
I
to
really
get into,
liked
but
it. Thought it
Galaxy
was really
games
good.
Absolutely are not. The Galaxy games,
But
they're
they were
rock
not,
solid. The control is just
I don't know,
about
for some
pitch
reason,
perfect,
we
and each
started
level
2
is
and I never
creative,
even
and
finished
most
it.
importantly, the games are consistently
They were
fun.
just fine. I really liked them. I don't know, I couldn't say they were like I would definitely choose a different Mario game if I were
They're
to
just a
put that
blast to
there.
play. They're the sort of game where we can even turn it on for a few minutes to get some footage, and we'll end up playing the game for an hour or two just because they suck you in. They're constantly introducing new ideas, new power-ups, new and varied locations that mix up the challenge, and they're never all that difficult. They're not easy to the point.
That's why I
being
said Mario
boring,
Galaxy was
though.
alright.
And
Yeah,
an important
that's kind of my
distinction,
feeling. Is
because if they were incredibly easy,
the music
they would
was
not
great.
be
Yeah,
as engaging
I
as
enjoyed the
Mario.
heck out of the game.
Mario
It just
Galaxy
wasn't.
seems hit a perfect
There's other
balance
Mario
between
games that
engaging
to me
and fun
I would
while still
prefer to
keeping
play.
you on your toes. These games
Super
have
Mario
shorter
3D
levels
World,
that are generally
way
more
better in
linear
my opinion.
than something from the previous 3D Mario games.
If
but
I were to
that
play
works for
Galaxy or
instance, they
Mario
don't
Super Mario
overstay
3D
their
World,
welcome.
I'm
They're
gonna
not
play Super Mario
confusing, they're
3D
not
World all
unclear.
day.
The first Mario Galaxy is very well designed, and the sequel's possibly better. A lot of people like Galaxy 2 better than the first, and I can see it. It's a game bursting with new innovative ideas. It's a refinement of the first Galaxy, which is already one of the best Mario games ever, and that's saying a lot. Either way, both these games hold up extremely well, especially if you're playing them on Switch, but even the original Wii releases hold up. They're just held back a little bit by the Wiimote. I got used to it, but I'm never going to say, like, I prefer a Wiimote to a that's never... controllers are better. And finally, at number 1,
BioShock.
Silent Hill 3.
Silent Hill.
Further to 2003
I've never
as well,
played
but it
this one.
cannot be understated how good this game looks.
surprised
for a
BioShock
PlayStation
wasn't on
2
here.
Game, released all the way back in 2003. It may be the best looking game on the console, full stop, and it looks shockingly good even now. Its visuals hold up more than 20 years after it came out. You can obviously still tell it's an older game, but some of the weirdness actually adds to the horror. The sometimes blurry textures are
I've never
used to
played
great
this one.
effect in the other
Maybe I
world
need to play it.
segments, for example.
Probably
The gameplay
this is probably a
mostly
super
holds up,
expensive
too.
game
It's
now,
not
but
an example of the tank controls that many games at the time were still like struggling to move on from. It's got full analog movement. I mean, the horror gameplay loop, it's still used to this day, so you're gonna avoid monsters.
only thing I didn't like was the weird camera angles from time to time, said Skylar. Well, I think that was because of the motion controls. The motion controls for Mario Galaxy, at least for me, were super annoying. Maybe it's because my Wii controllers weren't the best.
Collect health drink and weapons, solve puzzles. If you play a horror game now, you're gonna feel accustomed to Silent Hill 3.
This game does look really good for is this PS2?
That don't get brought up in a lot of games even today. It was way ahead of its time back in 2003, and that's what makes it hold up so well now. It's not mechanically complex. The combat's
For a
quite
PS2
simple,
game, this
you
looks
mostly
really
ignore it.
good.
And
Yeah.
there's still a lot of broken locks to sort through, as is Silent Hill tradition, but everything else about the game feels surprisingly modern. I'd say this game wouldn't look out of place next to the many indie survival horror games that have been coming out recently, but it's clearly got a bigger budget than those games. The character models and cutscenes are pretty impressive even now. It may not be your personal favorite Silent Hill game, but it's definitely one that's aged the best out of the original 4. Let's just skip the HD collection version. They didn't butcher it as bad as Silent Hill 2, but it's not great. The PC version is still the best version of this game, especially patched. That's a little hard to get these days, to be fair. Hopefully this game will get like a GOG release sometime soon. It's kind of crazy there's no way to legally purchase this game right now, other than through resellers and used copies. It really should be available because this is an impressive achievement and easily one of the best Silent Hill games, period.
Okay, well, interesting. I wasn't expecting him to end with a Silent Hill game. Fascinating. Alright, guys, well, that was Gamer Ranks' 10 games that have aged like fine wine. Interesting video. I recommend Gamer Ranks if you guys have never checked them out. I'm kind of surprised there was nothing like any of the BioWare or any BioShock or anything on there. Like, I feel like those games have aged incredibly well if you go back and play BioShock. Classic games, in my opinion. Alright, so I've got 3 more videos again. I don't have a heck of a whole lot for today, but let's see which one. This one's so just out of curiosity. This video isn't like doesn't have a heck of a whole lot happening, but I'm just kind of curious what the premise is. So this video is called by a channel called Joe and Nick's Road Trip. I've been kind of seeing this video pop up on my feed a little bit. The video is called I Visited a Third World Country I visited third world country where houses cost 30 grand. So I'm just kind of curious because I want to see what the houses look like that they're talking about in the video. So let's just kind of dive in and see what they're talking about. Again, this may not be a video where we stick around and watch the whole thing, but I was at least kind of curious what the heck is going on in it. What the premise is. So they're in rural West Virginia. Oh, this is like Silent Hill right here. They're in West Virginia. Okay. Oh, so they're in the U.S. and they're in, like, I'm guessing, small, very small neighborhoods. Well, rural, I guess that would be the point. So rural areas in West Virginia where houses are, like, incredibly cheap. I'm just kind of, oh my goodness, look at that house is burned down. Dude, these are horror. These are straight out of a horror movie. Some of these houses. So these are clearly like this is clearly like a very poor region where, like, you can definitely tell this area probably largely lived off of, like, manufacturing or some sort of local work where you can tell maybe that those things just aren't supported anymore. But that's probably why. Oh my god, the audio on this is so low.
A good place to go to church.
Let me rewind that.
Squire Country Church. A good place to go to church.
That's a tiny little church. Sheesh.
It's a foggy morning.
Okay, this is like a tiny rural town. My goodness. You see the size of that church? Wow, so it's got...
Of war. Just a few miles out.
Look at all the run-down buildings.
Starting to see quite a bit of beautiful old decay.
It is like, no, not to judge anyone here, but it is like, it is a stark reminder that, like, not everywhere in the U.S., is the same everywhere, I guess. I don't know. This is actually, like, I don't want to say it's depressing me, but this is very, like, just kind of eye-opening, where it's like, yeah, there are tons of people who have different at our different points, and just makes you realize the perspectives from a bunch of different people. Because if I were to see this video, I would probably initially say this is not the U.S. I would say this is probably some other country, but yeah, being reminded that this is the U.S. is kind of something.
All right, I am here. The very first town we're going to take a look at.
City of War,
West Virginia. Let's go into the downtown and take a look. All right, we are about to drive into downtown.
There's a church. Reminds me of some areas here in Florida.
West Virginia.
We have some areas here in Florida where it's like, if you go over near like Ocala or some of the more center of the state, where it's like, I've driven past some of those areas and it's just like a gun store, church, gun store, church, Dollar General, gun store, church, and it's like, yeah, it's weird.
Right off the bat, Dollar General.
Like, this area is beautiful.
I'm just gonna go real slow.
Like, it's a really pretty area in terms of, like, you got the mountains there, you got the mist looks really cool. Like, it's a beautiful area.
In 1950, that was the year of peak population. There were 4,000 people here.
So, okay, so we're talking a town that has like 1,000 to 2,000 people. That's how small. Okay, well, to be honest, that's also probably why some of this area is a little worn, just because you have so few people here. There's probably not much money running through the city. I mean, yeah, I can definitely imagine it'd be hard to upkeep and maintain a small town, of a couple thousand people. I mean, local towns like these, because they don't have like huge companies behind them, they thrive off of the money that's kind of in circulation. So if you don't have a ton of people, I can imagine.
I guess this was a car dealership of some sort, maybe. Yeah, 4,000 people. Last census, there were 690.
Less than 1,000 people in the last
That is
census
a
in this
lot of people
town.
gone.
Wow.
Little convenience store right here on the edge of downtown.
It's such a beautiful town too. Like I can't tell you. Like here in Florida, we do not have anything. We don't have anything that looks remotely like this. We don't have like green hills that look like this, trees and stuff like this. It's really a shame. It's really a beautiful area.
59% of this town is female. Wow, 59%. 41% male. That's kind of interesting, isn't it?
This does feel like a Silent Hill
this
game.
is
Or Alan Wake. I feel like
City
I'm
Hall,
walking through an
perhaps?
Alan Wake town.
and police department.
City of War. That's crazy to name
that.
your city War.
And church right here. See, let me give you the ethnic breakdown. 95% white, 1% black, last 4%.
1% black. 0% Hispanic. Oh no. And I gotta say, like, not to be completely judgmental, but it does annoy me to see like towns like this that are like, you know, where they're aged, they're a little more worn, but then you look at the churches and the churches are pristine and all beautiful, and it's like, why is that the case? I guess it's got to be because churches, you know, don't get taxed or not, whatnot. Why do the churches always look immaculate and then everything else is like
Street here into downtown.
has like no roof? I don't know. I'd love to live in a place like this. Not gonna lie, says Skylar. No, I agree. It's like that. Like it is a beautiful area. It's a beautiful region.
Hotel Fretwell. I bet that was the place back in the day. What do you think? And there's
Odin Salty says, I live in Kansas. It's literally flatter than a pancake, but we got some hills, but that's it really. Yeah, I mean, again, here in Florida, man, it is flat. We do not have like hills, mountains. You ain't finding none of that in Florida. I mean, maybe, you know, there's almost no elevation here at all. We're all under sea level, so.
a train depot right here.
Or are we under sea level? I think we are. I don't remember.
Well, as I continue in, here's the median household income real quick. $20,852 a year.
Median household income is 20 grand. Wow.
That is not a lot of money. I am in McDowell County, by the way. This is one of the poorest counties in the United States.
Why is there nobody on the road? It's so eerie. Okay, well, there's somebody.
You can see a lot of evidence of the past glory of the town, though, can't you? This looks like it was quite a beautiful downtown back in its day.
What am I saying? It's got less than 700 people. That's why there's no people walking around.
It's a coffee shop. Thrift Gifts Incorporated. Yeah, it is really beautiful here, though. And all the towns I'm going to show you, of course, former coal towns. And the decimation of that industry is why you're going to see.
So that's exactly what I was thinking, is that this is a kind of town, like he was saying, in West Virginia, where like the entire industry probably at some point revolved around the local resources. And once in a town like this, either political wise or some other, you know, things, unfortunate things come in where the industry kind of goes away and moves away from what the entire town revolves around, it's just catastrophic for that city, you know. That's why everyone's the median household income is 20 grand or less. Yeah. Here in Florida, I don't know if you can make, unless you're unemployed, how do you make less than 20 grand? I don't know. Florida, I would guess in Florida the median household income per person, well, it said median household income. I mean, maybe per individual in Florida here, I would guess probably 40 to 60. I would venture to say. I mean, granted, not something incredible,
See
but
what you're going to see. in these
that's
towns
double
I'm
what
gonna
the
show you
people
today.
here make, apparently.
Let's see, Grant's Supermarket. Well, we've got a regular supermarket here as well, in addition to the Dollar General. Let's see.
So through that entire town he just went through, there was only like 2 stores, if you noticed. They had that little convenience store, and then there was a Dollar General. That's how small this town is. So 2 stores. I didn't see a Walmart. I mean, I don't know why you build a Walmart when there's 600 people here, honestly.
Yeah, the town is named after War Creek. That's not it, I don't think. The Indians in the area gave it the name, the creek, because of all the skirmishes and battles that would happen along the banks of it.
It's so eerie. It's like
And it was just
it literally is like a
before
Silent Hill
moving
game.
to town.
There's like nobody. Oh, I see a car.
Very unusual
I
name
see
for a
another
town,
truck.
isn't it? Yeah, I believe this is. Yeah, that's it. War Creek right there. Let me give you some more numbers. Poverty here, 39% overall. School-age children, 61%. That's really high. 65 and older.
Yeah, that's really sad. So the poverty level for people under 18 is very high, 61%. Seniors and older people, 23%. Overall, 40% poverty level. That's very, very sad. This is a very depressing. Like,
Cost of living though here is only a 77.
It's like it's depressing, but it's also like I think it's more eye-opening maybe than depressing. Maybe depressing is the wrong term.
And you can see housing is the lowest.
I think it's easy to forget how, everyone kind of lives differently.
It's all relative though. As far as how poor it is, it all depends on cost of living. Cost of living here is real low.
And that's what this guy is saying is that people might be making a heck of a whole lot less than other regions of the country, but if the cost of living is lower than the rest of the country, then these people are probably living like everyone else. If what he was saying, he was looking at houses that are like less than 30 grand. I mean, then yeah, you probably don't need a huge home income. It's interesting.
I checked crime. 2.3 incidents per 100 people last year. That is exactly the same as the U.S. Yeah, crime here is pretty low. Let me give you the median home value real quick before I head down this residential street. $28,800.
Value of occupied housing units. So the average house here costs less than 30 grand.
Inexpensive. Needless to say.
Interesting. Fascinating.
I don't know if you ever saw the movie October Sky, or maybe you remember it.
Laura Dern.
It's based on a book called Rocket Boys.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
And that's about a...
Otis Salty says, we got a decent number of Mexicans over here in Kansas. There's always a Mexican restaurant somewhere to go to. One of my favorite things. Love Mexican food. Well, I'm a Hispanic and I'm a Mexican in Florida, and we got lots of Mexicans here.
Well, let's see. Yeah, there's downtown.
I'm curious, is this guy looking at houses or is he just driving around? Goodness, this is a long video.
This is a road that kind of runs along.
Is he actually going to get out and look at anything? I guess this is the whole video. He's just kind of driving around the town.
A residential area.
He's sightseeing.
Let's see what's up here.
In a ridiculously poor region.
Roads are this road anyway. It's very narrow.
Barely a road, yeah.
I'm trying to imagine how people pass each other on it. I don't see it happening, do you? There's downtown.
Downtown, and there's like nothing there.
Yeah, this is barely a road. This is a dead end. You gotta turn around. Nice view from up here, though.
All you're going to know about New Mexico is Albuquerque
enjoying the
being
sounds.
Gotham and a fair amount of Mexican restaurants at Skylar.
Anyway, yeah, that's it for here. Let's head to the next town.
Gosh, I can't tell you how sad it is that, like, well, again, I'm trying to not use the word sad or depressing. It's such a beautiful region that, like, how is there not more
Yeah, it's beautiful here, guys.
action going
It
on
really
there?
is.
Like, don't get me wrong, like, as much as I was making a joke about, haha, he's sightseeing and over here in this poor region, this is a beautiful area to sightsee. Like, I feel like when I drove through with family when we were up in Massachusetts, Massachusetts has a lot of stuff that looks like this, that, like, is
Coal
really...
is still being produced here.
Oh, they still are making coal.
There's
Huh.
a lot of it right there. The houses are kind of awesome, aren't they? I am in the town of Welsh, West Virginia. Heading into downtown. This is the county seat. So there'll be a county courthouse here that we will check out. Wow, that's a big building, isn't it?
It's a big hotel. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, okay, this looks more like a town.
Let's go take a look. All right, here's the population history of the town. 1940,
So this one's got a little bit more
64,
action.
peak
It's actually got
population,
more than
1950,
1,000 people there.
6603. Yeah, so the reason I wanted to give you that information is because of this shot I'm about to show you. You can see where I'm standing here in downtown. Here's the same shot in the 1940s when the town was hopping. It is crazy the difference, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, here's a picture again real quick.
All right, y'all.
Gives you
Well,
an
I think I got this video. I thought there was going to be a little more happening here. What I thought this video actually was going to be was him, like, actually looking at the houses, like maybe talking to realtors and stuff. And I didn't think it was going to be just him driving around, but still pretty fascinating, at least for me. I enjoyed kind of watching him drive around at least a little bit. So I think I'm good on this videos. Still a interesting look on the United States of America. So here's another IRL video that I was kind of curious about. This guy's doing some sort of food challenge. I kind of just wanted to take a peek and see what kind of challenge he was doing. So this creator is Beard Meets Food. So I'll give you a like. Go check out Beard Meets Food. I've never heard of him. Big channel, 5 million views.
Welcome back, folks. Today we are in Wales. Wales, famous for lamb, dragons, and words with too many consonants. I'm only joking. Look at this sprawling beachy expanse.
Okay, let me know how the audio is. All of these videos have different audio levels, it feels like.
Not decided which one yet. It might look really warm today because I'm squinting. There's a lot of sun on me, but it's actually freezing cold. So should we get inside? Let's get inside. Look at the menu. Probably got it inside, but not entirely sure.
So this guy's doing some kind of challenge. I wanted to see what the challenge is.
Burger, never the breakfast. I think the hot dogs are speaking to me. What do you reckon? Comes with a large milkshake too. Hot dogs it is. They've made a real commitment to the theme, the seagull theme. We got some inflatable fish hanging from the ceiling. The little life-saving ring thing. It says welcome on board.
Where's he at?
Probably should say welcome aboard. But,
Wales. Where's Wales?
This is not quite what I was expecting.
Wales, like the country, or is he in America? Where's he at? We're in Towin. Where the heck is Towin? Towin, so he's in Wales. Okay.
I really thought it was like a diner. I'm sure I saw pictures of like a diner.
Man, I guess he does sound Euro.
It used to be like downstairs or something.
They refurbished it in the summer, I think. This is a new look for the place.
Okay. Hi. You alright? I came to do your, well, I know you've got a lot of different food challenges.
Challenge.
Hot dogs, yeah.
Yeah. What milkshake would you like?
Ooh, what can I choose from?
Raspberry chocolate.
Yeah, okay. Towin is a county
I think I'm gonna go with
in
chocolate.
Borough, Wales. Okay.
Yeah, why not? Yeah. Has anyone done any of the food challenges you've got successfully?
Completed them.
Yeah.
Put them on 10 this year.
10 have actually done it?
Yeah.
The hot dog one, or?
No, the hot dog one, no.
Nobody's done the
No
hot dog
one's
one?
done the hot dog one.
No? Has somebody come close?
Close, yeah. He was outside the toilet and then there's going to be sick.
He went to the toilet to be sick?
Yeah. He just couldn't eat the last bit.
How much do you have left?
Only a bit.
Only a bit?
Like the end of a hot dog one.
The end of a hot dog one?
Yeah, just couldn't eat it.
So close.
Yeah.
Usually when you guys... Is that a parrot? Maybe I'll beckon her over if I'm struggling. I need to peck at a few pieces of hot dog, something like that. All right, we got the menu. Food challenges are in the bottom right-hand corner there. It says the Seagull Cafe love food challenges. Finish in 55 minutes and your meal is free. And you win a t-shirt stating that you won, lose, and you pay 25 quid. Here are
I would just say, like, even though I'm a fat guy, almost 40 pounds down. But even at my fattest, I've never really been a huge eater in terms of one sitting. Like most of the time, whenever I eat, I honestly feel like I got fat because of what I was eating and the time I was eating. One, I'm a big night eater. Like even now, I'll eat something small at like 11 or 12. But like man, there were times when I would eat terribly at like 1 or 2 in the morning. That I've kind of cut out. And fast food, obviously, I stopped a lot to get fast food. So even though I'm a big guy, or what, I'm losing weight, but at my biggest, I really didn't eat a ton in one sitting. So I would always say I would never. I have a feeling I wouldn't be good at any challenges like this because like even at my biggest, I feel like I would fill up eventually. You know what I mean? Probably faster than you would think, even at my almost 300-pound self. But yeah. I don't know. I would try something like this, but I guarantee you I would not do very good.
66-ounce cheeseburger, 32-ounce steak and ribs, and the newest one, the hot
I feel like I've been learning to replace some ingredients of my food with healthier alternatives, says Odin. That's good. I mean, I've been telling people probably obviously I'm on tirzepatide shots, which obviously those are helping me with my diet and eating. But probably I've said it before, you guys see me on the channel, but the best thing I've added to my since starting the shots has been the protein shakes, man. A giant protein shake. And obviously it helps to go to the gym when you take when you're taking protein shakes. But protein shakes, I've almost, I don't say completely, but protein shakes largely for me have like supplemented my actual eating. Like that's how much I drink them now. So like I drink a giant one of these in the morning, which you see the size of my hand, and so like a full thing I drink 2 of these a day, one in the morning, one at night, and I drink them before I eat anything, and man, I'm telling you, these things are great for filling you up. You drink one of those whole things, and you can put whatever you want in them. I typically put protein powder, ice. I put some coffee in there normally, and then I also put coffee creamer. So I'll normally have like a loaded coffee-filled protein shake in the morning. That's how I drink my coffee, and I'll typically eat like breakfast with it. But like, again, I feel like the protein shakes are great for if you're worried about eating a lot. If you're somebody that eats, if you're just like I eat too much, protein shakes are great. Now, as for your actual diet of like what you're eating, that's all about calorie counting. Calorie counting, I think, is like the best thing you can do to help watch what you're eating. You download Calorie Counter app when you go to the store, and you just, it's one of those things where you just gotta count. If you're not like keeping track of what you're eating, it's very hard to curb any of that, in my opinion. Oh, one thing I was gonna say, this is a fascinating video because if you notice this place he's at, to me, like if you look at the menu and like the style of the menu, this is about as Florida looking, as East Coast Florida feeling a restaurant as you can imagine, and this is in Wales, which I think is fascinating that this is Odin Salty says, yeah, protein is good for feeling full. Yes. Yeah, oh yeah. Another reason why the shake is great for me in particular is because if you don't know, people that are on the weight loss shots, like I'm on something called tirzepatide, but if you're also on Ozempic or if you're on any of those things, if you don't know, if you're not careful, I feel it myself already since I've been on it for like almost going on a year. If you're not, they always recommend if you're gonna be on stuff like that, you gotta have tons of protein and you gotta go to the gym a lot. And there's a reason behind that. If you don't know, the reason is tirzepatide and Ozempics and all of those weight loss injections. If you're not building muscle, they burn through fat, or they help you burn through fat, yes, but they also burn through muscle. So that's why they recommend, that's why a lot of times if you see these celebrities that have been on this stuff for like a year or two, they're like bone skinny. And that's because those weight loss injections don't just help you burn through fat. They also, if you're not careful, burn through your muscle. So if you're not if you're not eating and drinking tons of protein or going to the gym and building your muscle actively while you're on those injections, they'll just burn through everything. So, I don't know. Interesting fact. Like that was the first thing that I talked to like some nurse lady when I started my shots. That was like a big thing she recommended was protein shakes and going to the gym. You don't want to lose your muscle. Or it's not a big deal if you lose your muscle, but if you don't want to lose your muscle, it's very important to be doing those things.
Challenge for which there is not a 55-minute time limit, but 30-minute time limit. So I think that probably is the harder of the offerings.
Don't touch that. No. No.
I don't hold it like a baby.
Hold it. There you go.
All right, mate.
Well, you did it abroad, didn't it? Say hello. Hello. There you go. You can see it's angry.
That is mental.
Ew, was that noodles on your hot dog? What was that on the hot dog?
Oh, there's the milkshake. Wow. Thank you very much.
Those are the plainest.
Special cutlery. Oh, yeah, it says.
I guess this is Wales, but to me, those hot dogs look very plain.
6 hot dogs, some chips, 2 corns on cob, beans, coleslaw, and a giant milkshake. And if you can do so, the 25 quid meal is free and you get a t-shirt. If you lose, it's 25 quid and you get a little key ring that says loser on it. Nobody's done it yet, right?
Not this one. 3, 2, 1, go.
I'm gonna raw dog this first hot dog, then we'll get into some of the sauces. Mmm. Oniony.
That is like such a dry hot dog. There's nothing on it.
That was a heavy hot dog. You might need to get the pirate back to finish some of this off. Might grab some sauce. Sweet chili jam?
Oh, they've got a bunch of their own sauces. Okay.
Sweet chili jam. I've got it. This is healthy ketchup. Reduced sugar and salt ketchup. I'll put some sweet chili on this one.
Oh. I don't like watching what do they call them?
Tinned boiled hot dog, since I was like a kid, you know, like a football presentation.
What do they call it? Mukbangs? I feel like I'm watching a mukbang or something.
Curry sauce, maybe. What do you think? Curry sauce and a hot dog? Let's go for it. Oh,
ew.
Yeah. Look at that. Look at that.
Curry?
On the hot dog?
Get me to see that, mate.
You reckon? A lot of people give me grief for doing them one by one, though.
Bang the word.
That was an oddly erotic sound.
Felt really uncomfortable filming that part.
The curry actually works really well. With the onions and the hot
Curry
dog.
on a freaking.
I did not expect that to work.
Hot dog.
4 dogs down.
I think they were caramelized.
No flavor, no nothing on the hot dog. Hot sauce.
Caramelized onions with the onions.
Yeah.
Good thinking. I think there's a reason I paid you. Let's try some of this caramelized onion mayo.
Dude, that's just gross. I'm sorry. Just dumping that stuff on any some of them.
What are we on? Oh no.
I think it's a mukbang. It's got yeah, a mukbang.
Thank you.
10 minutes out of that's a lot of chips left as well, mate. Right to pull your finger out a bit.
Final hot dog. I'm gonna tear this down the middle.
I don't like watching messy eaters, said Veronica. I don't either. Yeah. I'm not about the mukbang life. I don't watch any of that stuff. Like, this is kind of gross enough to me, but... I don't mind plain hot dogs. I imagine it's very dry to hurry up and eat this as loaded. Oh, yeah.
Come on, there. Lube these fries up a little bit. I've done that thing again where I drink loads of non-mandatory water when there's a mandatory beverage here. Oh, milkshake is good. I'm sorry.
Ugh, this is disgusting. I don't know why I watched this.
Is that a bucket? You think I'm gonna lose, I reckon? There's a lot of fries. Unless you only get half an hour for this one. This looks harder than the steak and eggs thing to me.
That's 20 minutes down, Adam.
Wait.
10 to go.
Got a panic now. Where's that power when you need it?
The corn looks so good, though. Yeah, the corn actually looks decent.
That's a hefty portion of beans. All right, no need to rub it in. Coleslaw. I knew I should have put some hot dogs. This is your fault.
That's disgusting, that.
It's just disgusting.
Nice face is
Yeah, I don't understand. Bro's toilet is so cooked after this is Odin. Again, this is kind of making my stomach quench up a little bit, but like again, I would have readily admit I don't even think I could eat half of what he's eating right. Well, obviously even on my diet now, I definitely couldn't eat. But even when I was at my biggest, I probably couldn't have eaten half of all this stuff. I don't think to eat that entire thing, you would have to just be a big person. I think you have to have like a trained stomach where it's like you have been training to eat this much for like ever, you know. It's a little more than just being, hey, I'm a big hungry fat guy.
I'm gonna have to use the same spoon. No.
4.5 minutes left, mate.
Oh, he's gonna do it.
Got it close now.
Is this all? Is that about clean enough?
Yeah.
All right. This has been Miss Food, and that was the surprisingly difficult hot dog challenge at Seagull Cafe in Towing. Just about beaten. Do you have a dessert menu?
We have. Okay.
I'll take a slice of carrot cake, that's okay. Thank you very much. Maybe like a fizzy drink of some kind? Yes, please. What do you reckon, Josh, too? Clean enough?
Very clean, mate, yeah. Pretty impressed with that.
Odin Salty says, the fat guy myself, I probably would cry mid-meal and not be able to handle the amounts as Odin. Yeah, like I said, I don't think it's just, oh, you're a fat guy, so you can eat all this. I think it's, you've got to be somebody who, like, does this often. Your stomach has to probably be trained.
Gotta say that.
Here we go.
Oh, thank you very much. I don't know if I'm just getting old or if that was actually just hard. I feel like that should be 55 minutes. If the others are 55, that is not twice as easy. I wouldn't want to try the other ones if that's... You only get half an hour for that one. Oh, look at that. That's a cool t-shirt. I feel like the seagull's expression is probably very similar to mine right now. Time for the Saudi League, boys. That was hard. I think it was hard because I just spent too much time messing around getting sauce at the start, and I realised at 20 minutes, like, oh, I've got, like, I don't know, 60% of this left to go. Carrot cake makes everything better. This is a pretty good carrot cake. It's got that slightly salty edge to it, which I enjoy.
Bye, everyone.
Alright, well, that was interesting. I wasn't expecting to watch the whole thing. I kind of just wanted to see what the food looked like, but that was pretty interesting. Yeah, oh, my stomach's a little topsy-turvy after that video. What are we? We're an hour 15 in, and I've only got one video left that I kind of cared about watching. So, like I said, again, if nobody has any other recommendations, probably just going to jump right into Persona after this video. I kind of just want to see... This was an interesting topic because this is about a video game that I've played. But I would kind of just want to see, because their title for the video is Why Back 4 Blood Failed. I would love to hear their opinion on why it failed, because I feel like me and my buddy Phoenix talked about Back 4 Blood back when it first came out. But yeah, I'm kind of curious about it. It's the channel is called RoboCast. Shout out RoboCast. Just check out the video. Oh, need more audio.
Of the most beloved shooters of all time. Tens of thousands of people still play them to this day. So when a spiritual successor was announced in the form of Back 4 Blood, it seemed like an easy slam dunk. Yet a few years later, Back 4 Blood is completely dead, and most people have forgotten that it even existed in the first place.
Oh, I should forget to see, when was this video made? So this video was made a year ago. So this is, I think this is considered a year or two after Back 4 Blood came out. So yeah, this game probably came out at a good time
what went wrong, and how did a studio
kind
that
of
had the reputation for developing two of the most influential zombie games of all time
to reflect
manage
on
to mess
how
something
well
up
Back 4
so
Blood
badly?
did?
Well, to find out, we gotta start at the very beginning. Pretty much everyone knows the story of Left 4
Dang,
Dead.
I remember
The
Back 4
zombie
Blood.
shooter was
Personally, I
released
just
by
like the
Valve in
card system in that
2008
game.
to
Yeah.
immense
Oh, I
praise from
forgot about
fans
the
and
card
critics
system.
alike.
Goodness.
The game's success prompted the release of a sequel
I didn't
so good
love
that people,
it.
like me, are still talking about it today. But I bet you didn't know that it wasn't solely developed by Valve. Left 4 Dead is openly known as Valve's franchise, but they didn't make it alone. In fact, it actually started out as a passion project of a company called Turtle Rock Studios. They were a tiny studio of 6 that Valve had contracted way back in 2003 to help with Counter-Strike. The companies formed a close bond when working together. So when Turtle Rock went looking for a publisher to help them support their newest prototype called Left 4 Dead, Valve was happy to jump aboard the project. In the end, the bulk of the work was done by Turtle Rock, while Valve handled marketing, funding, and much of the writing. But Valve knew early in development that Left 4 Dead was going to be a success. Beyond that, it was clear that there was some real talent and potential behind Turtle Rock. This prompted Valve to offer to buy the studio outright. For such a young team, this was the deal of a lifetime. One of the largest and most prestigious game companies in the world was offering to buy them out and fund and publish future projects. Very few game developers get that type of opportunity, so it was no surprise that Turtle Rock agreed. A year before Left 4 Dead's release, Turtle Rock Studios was purchased and renamed to Valve South. Left 4 Dead became a smash hit and marked the first major joint success between Valve and their new studio. And the future seemed bright, but just a few years later, things would change drastically, and this would lead to a series of events that would cause Back 4 Blood to eventually fail. Left 4 Dead was a near-perfect game, so not long after its release, work began on Left 4 Dead 2. But this time, things were a bit different. Valve decided to take the lead on the project, and Turtle Rock had to give up some control. The game came out and was even better than the first one, but things weren't smooth sailing. Turtle Rock and Valve began butting heads and having creative differences. They weren't aligned on vision, and the relationship became strained due to constant disagreements. Their company culture was changing, they had less independence than before, and they didn't really know how to conform to Valve's way of doing things. In an interview, one of Turtle Rock's founders said the following: "The culture changed a lot when we became Valve, and not all of it was what we felt was the right way to go, and it wasn't the way that we wanted to work." So, in 2010, Turtle Rock and Valve parted ways. Valve would retain ownership for their Left 4 Dead IP, and Turtle Rock would have the freedom to work on new projects as long as they weren't Left 4 Dead related. They had their freedom, but their franchise was now in Valve's hands. With the Left 4 Dead series being one of the most popular game franchises of the early 2000s, there was still room for it to expand. Pretty much everyone expected Valve to announce at least one more sequel. Yet to fans' surprise, no news came. With the original developers behind the franchise gone and 2 solid games released, Valve seemed shockingly disinterested in.
And that does seem kind of like a... I understand the creative differences aspect with Turtle Rock and Valve. I don't know. I guess it's really hard to kind of give an opinion on where things are at with here, because we don't know the specifics. All you know is that there's some sort of creative differences. I think Valve ended up... Well, I know they ended up signing an exclusivity deal with Back 4 Blood for Xbox, which, if you haven't seen, probably not a great decision considering some of the position of Xbox recently. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't think personally, in my opinion, Back 4 Blood brought anything interesting or new to the table in terms of what it was doing. Like Odin said in chat, the whole card system, which I totally forgot about. I really didn't like any of the card system. I don't remember any of the characters sticking out. The environments weren't that great. I don't remember the zombies being all that particularly interesting. There really wasn't much. I mean, we did a bunch of streams, me and my buddy Phoenix, playing Back 4 Blood, and I really didn't care about just about any aspect of it. It was very milquetoast.
They released a few DLC, but from 2012 onwards, they seemed to move away from Left 4 Dead. From their perspective, there wasn't much reason to make a sequel. Left 4 Dead 2 still had a vibrant player base that was creating its own content via the Steam Workshop. Speaking of a vibrant player base, I want to take a minute to thank the sponsor of today's video, War Thunder. War Thunder is the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made, and in this game, you can take command of over 2,500 tanks, helicopters, and ships of 10 major nations, ranging from the biplanes and armored cars of the 1920s to the fighter jets and main battle tanks found in present day. I'm telling you, this game is extremely cool, and the in-depth customization system really helps you to tailor your vehicles to how you want them to be, with a ton of camouflages, historical markings, and decorations for all types of vehicles. Plus, the game is super immersive with realistic graphics, incredible and authentic sounds, and of course, the insane attention to historically accurate detail with the vehicles. There are over 70 million players in the War Thunder community, so join them in epic PvP battles today, and delve into War Thunder for free on PC, PlayStation, or Xbox by using my link in the description. If you sign up today, you could get a massive bonus pack with multiple premium vehicles and an exclusive vehicle decorator if you are a new or returning player that hasn't played in 6 months. Furthermore, Valve's principles as a game publisher made it rare for them to produce sequels. They tried to avoid milking series or making underwhelming games that don't add anything to the franchise. That leads to them having high-quality releases, but it also means content for their existing franchises is slow to develop. In fact, Valve's slow pace with making content for Left 4 Dead was a major reason for their...
I mean, that makes sense if Valve strictly just didn't want to make a sequel for it, because maybe what they felt like was being introduced by Turtle Rock wasn't, maybe just what they felt like that was being introduced wasn't very good. Because apparently whatever Turtle Rock took over with them to Microsoft, yeah, I mean, what was delivered, in my opinion, wasn't very good. So I don't mean to just flat out take the side of Valve. I mean, I don't know for sure, but like, maybe what you were making wasn't very good. I mean, again, the final product with Back 4 Blood was not
falling out with Turtle
personally
Rock
satisfying.
Despite
to
all
me.
that, fans still clung to the hope that Left 4 Dead 3 might someday be announced. Every once in a while, rumors would float that Left 4 Dead 3 was on the brink of a release, but Valve was quick to shut these down. In fact, in early 2020, they put out a statement clarifying that they are absolutely not developing another Left 4 Dead. That same year, Valve would release the first major update that Left 4 Dead 2 had gotten in years, giving the game a brand new campaign. The update was bittersweet. On one hand, it was exciting that after all these years, fans were finally getting new content of this scale. On the other hand, it seemed to be a signal that the company saw a sequel as unnecessary. New content was likely limited to occasional updates and mods. There was no hope for Left 4 Dead 3. Well, until Turtle Rock Studios returned. In the year since they left Valve, Turtle Rock had struggled. They'd only released one game, Evolve, which was widely considered a disappointment. The company was directionless and
Turtle Rock developed Evolve? I forgot about that. Was that a... Yeah, that game was a pretty big catastrophe as well. I didn't know Turtle Rock did Evolve. That game got canceled years ago.
Current situation led them to chase nostalgia for their earlier days with Left 4 Dead. So they started designing a new zombie shooter that would scratch the Left 4 Dead 3 itch that fans had for nearly 10 years. And this new game would be a way for Turtle Rock to reinvent the zombie shooter genre and be back on top as the king of zombie games. Enter Back 4 Blood. Back 4 Blood was announced during the Game Awards in 2020, and they made it pretty obvious that this was a non-Valve Left 4 Dead 3 alternative. I mean, everything from the structure of the title with the number 4 in it, to Easter eggs in the reveal trailer, to even the presentation of the gameplay itself was unapologetically Left 4 Dead. I mean, look at these doors and the safe room. It looks identical to what you see in Left 4 Dead 2. It shared the main premise, 4 survivors getting their way through a zombie apocalypse, and of course, the main developers, Turtle Rock Studios. The marketing made it very clear that Back 4 Blood was supposed to be a bigger and better version of Left 4 Dead. It's obvious why Turtle Rock Studios leaned into this idea. It allowed them to tap into an already existing fanbase to generate hype for their new IP. But little did they realize that there was a real danger to this strategy. The only thing that fans and journalists seemed to know about Back 4 Blood was that it was supposed to be like Left 4 Dead. And as you could probably assume, that is a recipe for high expectations.
Mark Rose said, "Oh, I remember this." Yeah, I mean, he makes a great point. Looking back on it, looking at some of the advertising material, that they were putting with Back 4 Blood, I can very much agree with him that I don't know. It definitely seems as though they were just trying to capitalize on the already very dedicated fan base of Left 4 Dead, and it's just like, well, just the gameplay and just the zombie aspect of it isn't what made Left 4 Dead great. Left 4 Dead had a lot of personality. It had some great locations. Each of the zombies, had their own personalities as well. And I just think when you get to Back 4 Blood, it was missing all of that. The characters weren't as interesting. The zombies weren't as interesting. The locations weren't as interesting. There's so many aspects of it that, like, I also remember I just didn't think the shooting mechanics were just as good. I just felt like they were just like, hey, we can make Left 4 Dead, and all of those Left 4 Dead people will immediately come over to Back 4 Blood, and that definitely was not the case.
And disappointment. It also meant that the game didn't really have a clear identity outside of the shadow of its older brother. Just look at the articles written on the game at the time. People didn't care about Back 4 Blood. They cared about getting another Left 4 Dead. The bar was set really high, and if the game didn't live up to the hype, it would be dead in the water. Or you could say Left 4 Dead, get it? Could Turtle Rock deliver? Well, from the start, things weren't looking too great. In fact, cracks began to show as early as the beta. People didn't hate the game, but it was becoming clear that it was no Left 4 Dead. It had a completely different feel and tone. The fast-paced gunslinging had been abandoned for the slower, more down-to-earth pace of modern shooters. There was now a linear progression. The goofy tone of Left 4 Dead was toned down and felt somehow more corporatized. Versus mode was removed, and the single-player campaign was far weaker than it should have been in order to push players towards multiplayer. All of these new mechanics weren't necessarily bad, but they meant that the game just didn't feel like Left 4 Dead, and that was a problem. To make matters worse, the game's beta was incredibly glitchy. People were already skeptical of Back 4 Blood, and the glitches just added more fuel to the fire. The release of the full game was approaching rapidly, yet fans' hype was falling, and the criticism was getting much worse. At this point, Turtle Rock Studios had to pray that things came together with the full release. When Back 4 Blood was finally released, the reviews were unanimous. It's okay, but not as good as Left 4 Dead. Being just an alright game isn't enough to get players invested, unless for some reason you're Call of Duty, and the numbers showed that. Back 4 Blood peaked at 60,000 concurrent players and then quickly dropped off as people lost interest. It only took a few months for Left 4 Dead 2 to begin consistently beating it in player count. People would rather play a 14-year-old game than Turtle Rock's new flashy title. But why did the game fizzle out so quickly? Couldn't it have found an audience with casuals or younger fans not as driven by nostalgia? Well, no. The problem is that Back 4 Blood was trying to do two things at once. It wanted to be a fresh, interesting take on the shooter genre for more experienced players, but it also wanted to cosplay as a Left 4 Dead sequel. Both of these approaches have potential, but trying to juggle them at the same time just doesn't work. The game had no unique identity, and not to mention that it had some severe design flaws, and to understand them, we need to start with Back 4 Blood's core mechanic, the card system. Combat in the game is centered around the use and collection of cards. Cards can give players all sorts of advantages like increased healing speed, increased damage, or an extra life. You start with a set number of starter cards to make a basic deck. However, as you complete missions and gain supply points, you can buy more powerful and interesting cards.
Yeah, I thought the whole card system with that game was... I don't even remember what my exact opinion was. I'd have to go back and watch our video, but I just remember it feeling very out of place. It wasn't something that I necessarily cared about. Again, Back 4 Blood didn't need some unique. I fused the word unique and niche. Left 4 Dead just didn't need some niche, card mechanic or something to make the gameplay interesting. The gameplay was very simple. Choose your character. Each character has their own lineup of weapons. Go with that character, and then the gameplay itself is what draws you in. Yeah, you don't need some gimmicky card system to kind of get you into it. Like Left 4 Dead, the speed of it was interesting. The enemies were interesting. The characters were interesting. Everything else kind of was there, and I don't know. I kind of got the vibe that they tried to add like the card system in, maybe because they were, again, trying to throw some gimmicky system in to be like, oh, well, this will draw people in, and it did not. That was not something that people held on to. Odin and Salty says, yeah, this game felt like Nothing Burger for the most part. It wasn't bad, but Left 4 Dead provided a much better experience. Pretty sure Left 4 Dead 2 was like $10. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if like concurrent players on Steam now for Left 4 Dead versus this game now is probably... This game probably only has, what, maybe a couple... Is this game even on Steam? I know it's on Xbox. I guarantee you they don't have at once more than a couple hundred people playing this game. Whereas if you look on PC, I bet you Left 4 Dead probably still has thousands of people playing it concurrently, you know?
Cards. Strategy in Back 4 Blood revolved around collecting cards and combining them to make cohesive and powerful decks. This system is easily the best and worst part of Back 4 Blood. On one hand, the game had almost infinite depth. A player who mastered this system could be on a totally different level than a beginner. It also allowed players to customize their experience. However, it was also fairly complex and didn't seem to fit the rest of the game. This card system would make sense in an RPG or a roguelike, but not a simple run-and-gun shooter. The focus on customization, linear progression, and creating optimal builds made Back 4 Blood a totally different experience than Left 4 Dead. That's not only a problem because it makes the games different, it's an issue because the rest of Back 4 Blood isn't built to accommodate this card system. RPGs have very intentional campaigns and tutorials built to teach you their mechanics. Similarly, roguelikes' early level design are dedicated to teaching the player how to use their abilities. Back 4 Blood doesn't do anything like this. Players
so far in my experience, adding gimmicky card systems when you're not in a card game kills the game, says Veronica. I gotta try and think, what are other games that done that? There's a couple other games I know have done card systems when it doesn't really fit. I can't remember what games they are. I'd have to think on it. Otis Salty says, plus Left 4 Dead 2 has mods, so it's already better anyways. Oh yeah, that's a great point. That the mod aspect can, make those games great forever and change them versus like, I don't remember if Back for Blood is even on PC or Steam. I'm sure it
inspired
is.
in an RPG. At the start of every mission, the enemies get to draw their own cards and get stat boosts, and this does add some flavor to the combat, but it's pretty much the
Fragpunk
only
had a
way
card
that they
system.
interact with the card
I heard about that
system.
game.
So
I never got
this
to play
entire
it.
card system was a weird combination of things that didn't quite fit together, and it kind of felt like an unnecessary gimmick just to make the game seem a little more interesting. So I mentioned how the game would get easy if you had the right builds, but I need to dive into the difficulty of this game in general. In Back for Blood, Turtle Rock attempted to continue the use of the director as found in Left 4 Dead. Basically, the director would observe your gameplay in Left 4 Dead, and then when things got too easy, it would up the ante and send harder enemies, and when things got insanely hard, an easier path would open up the map. This is an overly simplistic explanation, but let's just say that it was absolutely revolutionary when it was released for Left 4 Dead, so it comes as no surprise that they decided to continue using the system in this new title. In theory, the director should fix those imbalances that were found in the card system by ensuring that players always felt the perfect amount of challenges. But in reality, it was constantly overcorrecting by spiking difficulty one moment and then making the game stupidly easy the next. Because of this, Back 4 Blood just didn't feel good to play. You would never get into a rhythm, and it felt like you had a lot of unfair and cheap losses. It's one thing for a game to be hard, but it's another thing when a game just feels like it decides to kill you because you're playing too well. The poorly explained card system plus the difficulty spikes meant that Back 4 Blood was actually an extremely annoying game to play. These issues, plus the glitches, lack of charm, strange design choices, and reliance on comparisons to Left 4 Dead cemented Back 4 Blood's place and doomed it from the start. Left 4 Dead fans went in expecting a simple shooter, and they were blindsided by a complicated roguelike that played completely different from Left 4 Dead. Meanwhile, newer fans were overwhelmed and annoyed by how inconsistent the difficulty was in Back 4 Blood, and they quit pretty quickly. In short, the game was dead in the water before it even began. Turtle Rock resented having to answer to higher-ups in Valve in its early days, but in retrospect, it's clear that Valve's oversight was the key to restraining the studio's worst instincts. Back 4 Blood is a bloated game that doesn't know what it wants to be and does nothing particularly well. Its combat felt sluggish and brutal, the card system was undercooked, and its enemies and level design felt uninspired. Back 4 Blood was supposed to be a return to form for the studio. However, it was anything but, and the player count reflects that. Within a year, more than half of the player base had dropped the game, and Left 4 Dead 2 had 6,000 more active players than Back 4 Blood. Turtle Rock pretty much saw the writing on the wall from the start and quietly announced that there would be no more content for the game on February 2nd, 2023, just a year and a half after its launch. The game servers are still running for now, but it never reached its fullest potential and failed on nearly every single level. And it's honestly a tragedy, because we were expecting amazing things from Turtle Rock, and, well, they didn't deliver at all. And that, my friends, is how Back 4 Blood failed. Did you ever play Back 4 Blood? Were the reviews justified, or did you maybe...
Alright, so shout out RoboCast. Thank you so much for your video. I mean, yeah, it's hard to disagree with them on any of their points. Yeah, I mean, Back 4 Blood was a huge disappointment. We played that day one, me and my buddy Phoenix. It was on Game Pass. We played it day one, launch day, and yeah, it just wasn't a good time. Like, I think my problem is that the one thing I've always said is that like, a bad game is always memorable, of course. Well, a great game is always memorable, of course. A bad game can always be memorable because it's bad. There are aspects of bad games that even typically sometimes you're like, oh, I remember that part or that aspect of it. But a mediocre or slightly below mediocre game, and something I've always said that I think is very true, is that there are times when making a mediocre game is worse than making a bad game. I can't tell you how many bad games I remember and how often I don't remember mediocre games. And I think that's what a game like Back 4 Blood was. It wasn't a bad game, but it was a mediocre game. And unfortunately, a mediocre game is always going to get kind of forgotten. This is a game that no one's going to remember, unfortunately. It's probably going to have its server shut down, in the next year or so, probably. Because they're going to want to move on. They're not going to want to support this game that's getting less than 1,000 people, concurrent players. And I don't know. That's my opinion. Again, I've always said bad games, it's almost like making a bad game sometimes is better than making a mediocre one. At least your bad game is going to be remembered for some aspect. Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, that's an hour and a half. So thank you so much to RoboCast again for your video. Let me do one more quick run through of my YouTubes and see if there's any video that pops out. And if not, we may call it there. Oh, H3 just dropped a new video. This video is only a half-hour long. He's talking about Hassan again. I don't know if it'll be worth it. He talks about Hassan a lot. Oh, I see a very short video I want to check out. Very short. Last video, I think, and then we'll move on to, I think we'll start playing some Persona. For real, other than Miskiff suing it. Oh, Miskiff is suing Emmy now? Oh, let me check that out. What's he suing her for? I don't see anything about Miskiff suing her. Okay, I guess he did. Let me check this out. Okay, it looks like Legal Mindset actually talked about it, so maybe we'll check that out. Apparently, it's not a good lawsuit, so it doesn't sound like it's probably going to be successful, but let's see. Zelda Age of Imprisonment just got released. I saw that. That came out, what, today or yesterday? It seems like it's getting good review scores. Been flooding my feed since this morning. I wish I could play it, but Switch 2 exclusive. I got a video, hold on, says Veronica. Sam, I'd love to get it, but I don't have a Switch 2. Alright, so let's check out this video real quick. I'm kind of curious. This video says, this tiny New York City apartment goes for $650 a month. Let's see. So
Yo,
this
welcome to my apartment.
Yo, this space is so small. How much do you pay for it?
$650.
What's the square footage?
80 by 150.
So really it just feels like a walk-in closet.
It's in Midtown, so it's nice because it's not in a random spot.
Like in Brooklyn or something?
Like in Brooklyn.
Oh, wow. Holy shit.
This is the kitchen, no oven.
Are these clean or dirty dishes?
They're so dirty.
They're
wow,
so dirty.
$650
This is like the
a
only
month.
shelving space you have kind of every
Only
day.
shelving, yeah. It's kind of annoying.
This is very like college-esque,
It's
right?
so college. Feels like a dorm, yeah. We have a makeup bin and we have food.
Or do you cook in here ever? Is that the real question?
Sometimes, yeah. If I do though, like I'll go get it fresh. This is storage.
My goodness, I could not imagine. I couldn't do this. I would much rather. I get it. People love being in New York City, but to me, like the living spaces is just like something like this is. This has got to be like. I feel like you've got to like really want. You got to actually want something like this, because I could not imagine. Just to be in New York City, you'd be willing to deal with a living space like this. I feel like this is something you're like, no, I want a tiny, ridiculously tiny space. Like, why would you, like, who, honestly, I'm too big of a guy. I can't do that. Veronica Rose says, I would not survive here. Yeah, this is kind of ridiculous.
Food up here originally, there were like mice.
I'm too big.
At the beginning of summer.
I'm a big man. I need a big
The
space
whole
to live in.
thing, like any apartment in New York, you can't escape it. You almost couldn't even do an at-home workout in here. That's how small it is.
Yeah.
So you used to live in a luxury high-rise, and then you moved into this tiny spot.
Yes.
And what prompted that?
I was debating if I was going to move back to LA when this lease was over. So it was
You see what I mean? This is a girl who has money. She just said she was living in a luxury high-rise place, but then moved here willingly. I think this is something you willingly do. Like, granted, yes, you are willing to do whatever to live in New York City, but this is something you're like, I want a tiny, tiny little place. You know what I mean? I can't imagine this. This is something people go out, you know, are like, oh, I guess I'll take this tiny ass little bedroom.
6 months, short time lease. I just found it and I thought it would be nice and convenient. You can travel and not have to worry about a lot of rent.
Basically save $2,600 a month.
Yeah, exactly.
So should we shift into the living room area?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Onto the couch. A nice view of the
But
TV.
she even admitted that she only bought it because she's doing a bunch of traveling. So, like, so she has money. She comes from money. Like, if you have money, like, why wouldn't you get a bigger place? She said she had a much bigger place. So, again, that's why I was saying, like, this isn't something you jump into unless you, like, want this. Which apparently she wants this, because I could.
Just reach over and wash your hands from the living room if you wanted.
I work in fashion, so those are all from my magazine that I write editorials for. And then semi-new to New York, a year, so it's like postcards they give you when you go to restaurants. And I'll like write memories on the back of them with like whoever I went with to the place.
So do you primarily hang out like down here when you're at home?
Mostly. Sometimes it's nice to go up there and like read.
This space between here and here folds into a guest room. Can we pull it out? Can we see it? So everything has to shift to the right a little bit. And then you just pull it out.
This is Surf Life, so I'm guessing you're like a surf brand.
It's definitely a little stiff.
Oh, it's very stiff. Like, I have to like buy a mattress pad every time friends come.
And where do you keep the mattress pad then?
Go return it because I don't.
That's how we keep our money, by being cheap, says Veronica, I guess.
It's so big. I mean, look at the closet. It's so tiny.
The cupboard under the stairs.
This is the thing about this apartment is like every time I want to get something out, something else has to move.
Oh, so you have your jackets and stuff there.
Yeah, just because it's hard to get to, so stuff I don't need right now.
Where do you keep your jackets when it is winter?
Where all those clothes are right now?
They do. They're just hanging down from somewhere.
There's literally one pole that goes across the entire wall up there, and I was like, I have no other choice but to put clothes here. Yeah, it's like a little treehouse kind of.
Yeah, it does actually feel a little bit like a treehouse. What about your neighbors? Can you hear them?
Surprisingly not. The only one I can hear is the one next door, and his shower is, it must be like right behind that wall.
So the stairs lead up to this lofted space, which is your bed?
Yeah.
Can I try out your bed? This is something I ask everybody.
You can try it out.
I can try it out?
You can try it out.
Oh my goodness.
You want me to go first or you want to go first?
You go first.
Right.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you have your shoes on. Do you want me to take them off real quick?
Yeah, can you?
This is funny. We're really gonna know each other.
We are. We just pull it. Thank you.
If you were an old person, you could not live here.
Oh, wow. Holy shit. This is actually insane.
Heads up, we've detected video on your stream belonging to someone else. Maybe temper. Oh, is this video? Is this some big company's video? Well, either way, I've at least seen everything about this here. It's extremely cheap skates. Taught me that there's cheap and then there's too cheap. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like I said, I don't think this is something you just jump into just because you want to be in New York City. She clearly has a plan or some sort of reason why she wants to be here. She's got it because she wants to be in New York City. She wants cheap, but she also wants to be able to travel. Like, that's a very, like, I guess that's a very logical reason to want to be amongst, you know, those... At least that's like a combination where I'm like, okay, because of the traveling aspect, you're willing to stay, because she probably stays here, like, probably doesn't stay here a ton throughout the year, so. Interesting. That video is cool. Alright, last video we're going to check out real quick. Ms. Kiff's lawsuit is hilariously bad. Fast facts. So I just want to see real quick. I'm not going to watch this whole thing, but I want to see some of the specifics behind his lawsuit.
Ms. Kiff's lawsuit is hilariously bad. Today we're breaking it down on the legal mindset. We teach you to be your own judge. Of course, I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney in America, and we're going to break this down for you today. It's good to be back. Thank you guys for being patient with me. I've been doing some traveling. I'm back in the States for a little bit, and I'm very excited to be coming back with this topic, something I predicted in my last review of the Ms. Kiff versus Emeru kind of drama, which was drama then, but it's legal now. There's a lawsuit now, and this is something that is absolutely going to blow back on Ms. Kiff, and we're going to get into that today. Of course, I've got a PowerPoint as we get into this Fast Facts version. If you like the Fast Facts, if you like this format, make sure to like the video, leave a comment, let me know you love the Fast Facts.
She's so high energy. I wish I was this high energy.
This is Ms. Kiff versus effectively
maybe
everyone.
I'd be a bigger YouTuber if I was this high energy.
But all the big players are in this. And we're going to go over the parties first so you guys understand the background for this lawsuit and what's going on here today. So obviously, a couple disclaimers up front. This is something that I wanted to break down. First of all, this is a public court document. I know that there's an unredacted version. Anybody can, and just throwing those plushies hurt your soul, Ms. Kiff? Did those plushies destroy you? I know you got the big dong here. She obviously was key to the thinking about this carefully, but all those things are going to come out as he is now a named defendant. Another named defendant.
Okay, so it sounds as though the main thing that he is suing for is he is suing Emeru and suing Asmongold both at the same time. So they are involved within this lawsuit.
Mythic Talent, of course, once again, my talent agency, but once again, I'm not personally involved in this, but they're brought into this for contractual side as well as OTK as a corporate unit. Obviously, they all had some ownership stakes in.
Oh, I didn't realize this. So this is everyone that's in OTK? I did not know that. So, okay, this is my chance to see who's... Okay, so she mentioned S-Fan. I know that. I've heard of Extra Emily. Asmongold's in OTK. I guess that makes sense. Ms. Kiff, of course. I've heard of Soda Poppin'. Is Soda Poppin' the guy... I think Soda Poppin' is the World of Warcraft guy, right? He was the guy that was involved with Pirate Software, I think. Or he did a video on Pirate Software. I can't remember. And, okay, I didn't realize Tectone's in OTK as well. Interesting.
this. They all had a share in this. So obviously depriving Mizkif of his shares is one of the claims at stake here. So let's get into this lawsuit. So first, we have breach of contract. Now, this is the strongest possible claim. Now, why do I say strongest possible? Because we don't have the entire contract. Now, I can speculate on what that is based on, number one, my experience with these types of contracts, and number two, having written some types of contracts like this myself. As you guys may or may not know, I'm a corporate lawyer. I have reviewed a lot of corporate agreements. So I can very much imagine what's going on here. And the strongest argument that he does have, and this is me being honest and upfront, is that there might be some breach of contract until we see the contract. My argument here in my kind of thoughts for OTK in general would be release the contract. It's going to come out as part of discovery. It's going to come out as part of this process. So one thing I would want to see, and once again, they can release this privately, publicly, whatever, it's going to come out as part of the lawsuit.
Let me see. Plaintiff alleges allegations of paragraphs 1 through 32. OTK breached its ownership agreement with Ronaldo. Who's Ronaldo? Is that Mizkif? I think it's Mizkif. By purporting to oust him from ownership when no event of breach or default giving it authority to take action. So they kicked him out of OTK. OTK acknowledged it took no effort to investigate the alleged breaches, claiming its own words that OTK is not involved in, nor aware of the content of Emiru, blah, blah, blah. Nonetheless, OTK anticipatorily breached its contract with Ronaldo based on the allegations. Similarly, King breached its agreement with plaintiffs by purporting to divest them. Okay, so it sounds like they, because of a lot of the stuff here with Emiru, they're deciding to just totally cut all ties. OTK is deciding to cut all ties with gosh, I think I'm tiring out here. Mizkif. So because they're deciding to essentially cut all ties with Mizkif, Mizkif is pissed because I guess he'll be losing some form of ownership within the company, which of course means money. So because of that, because his ownership within the company is kind of affected by this, he's suing them. Okay.
Is to get this particular agreement. So what is he saying? He's saying that, hey, they ousted him from ownership without breach or default. And now what that is saying is he had no notice, he had no reason to know he was going to be kicked out of OTK. Well, by his own admission,
of which great guy, by the way, Mizkif, not only was he allegedly accused of sexual assault, being a bad boyfriend, possibly being abusive, domestic abusive with his multiple possible ex-girlfriends and possibly current girlfriends. So great guy. And on top of that, when he gets kicked out for bad behavior, he turns around and is trying to sue all of his friends with his former company. So a great guy, Mizkif, huh? Good guy, Mizkif, huh? He's really the hero of the story. So he's out here possibly being an extremely bad boyfriend and also suing his former friends and company. Yeah, great dude.
And by the filing of the letter, which they previously sent him, in fact, he was on notice. He already had a strike. They could have removed him for just that, but they decided not to. So this, to me, despite being his strongest possible claim, is fundamentally flawed by his own evidence, by the evidence that he submitted himself. So saying that he's divested with no breach or notice is, in fact, countered by what he submitted, which we'll look at later. The next count is defamation. Now, this one is one you guys can obviously are familiar with. We've covered a lot of defamation cases on.
Okay, so he's also suing them for defamation against Schunk and Hoyt. I don't know who Schunk and Hoyt are. That's the interesting thing is whenever you get lawsuits or things like that, there's this little word called discovery that happens when lawsuits happen. If you don't know, discovery is the legal term. Whenever a lawsuit happens, essentially all information about anybody involved in the lawsuit is going to get put out, which is honestly, I think a lot of times discovery is like the part that people fear the most whenever it comes to a lawsuit like that. A lot of people not to mean to bring politics into it, but a lot of people think that's the reason why somebody like Donald Trump has not come out and has sued anybody who has, by law, Donald Trump, if somebody says, hey, you're not putting out the Epstein files because you're on there, which means we think you're a pedo or a pedophile. Well, Donald Trump, by somebody online saying that, throwing the accusation out that he's a pedophile, you would think that would be defamation, right? If it's untrue, if it's like, but But because if he were to sue somebody for calling him that, guess what would happen because of that lawsuit? There has to be something called discovery that happens, which means there's going to be a bunch of lawyers and people that are involved in, you know, the lawsuit who have to go digging in order to prove that you are not a pedophile. And I'm just bringing that up just because that's a case in my mind that I've always thought about, which is why I've always thought it's weird. You have all these people that are calling him that, considering, you know, the whole Epstein files thing. Well, that's why Trump has never sued anybody for that, because if he were to sue somebody for calling him a pedophile, when he says, I'm not on the Epstein list, don't say that, you know, blah, 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 blah. Well, he really would never sue anybody for that, because if he were to sue, they got to go in and they've got to, essentially they would have to go through the Epstein files or whatever the defense attorney, whoever defending the person who made the allegations that he was a pedophile, they would have to, if their defendant would easily say, like, obviously would be like, well, if you're not a pedophile, then let's go through the Epstein files, and through discovery, you've got to prove that you're not. So that's what I mean by, like, why discovery is such a damning part of lawsuits, is because essentially every part of information that could lead to the accusations or whatever the defendant is behind, or whatever the allegations are, everything comes out through discovery. So that's why a lot of times nobody gets, you know, for something like the Epstein files, nobody's getting sued because of that, because nobody wants anyone to go in and legally and start looking for evidence of anything. That's why there's nothing happening there. And I think that's obviously something that's waxed, as Veronica Rose. Yeah, discovery alone, that aspect of lawsuits alone affects so many non-lawsuits that happens, because you know, especially when it comes to celebrities or rich people or politicians, because they just don't want anyone digging into any information. I'd rather you defame me and say that I'm the worst person in the world than for anyone to actually look into this and find out that I am actually the worst person in the world. You know what I mean? That happens so many times in things of the sort like that. But yeah, essentially, that's why, like, through discovery on this lawsuit, that's why it says he's considering defamation, or he's suing for defamation against Shunk and Hoyt, who I bet you that's two of the people, a part of OTK, that we just saw. That's two of the people on the list that, like, I have no idea. I bet you if I look it up, I could probably figure out. So if I type in OTK Shunk, who is Shunk? It'll probably tell me. Okay, so Emiru's last name legally is Shunk. So that's what I mean, though, is like through discovery, all information has to come out. So, like, you know, if Emiru at one point ever was like, I don't want my last name getting out there, well, through this lawsuit, your information's getting put out there. Let's see who Hoyt is. So Hoyt would be Asmongold. So, like, do you see what I mean? There's little things like this all of a sudden that, like, all of now your personal information is getting put out there. Now everyone's gonna know your full name. Your probably your address is probably not gonna be made public, but now all of a sudden people are looking, legally people are probably now know their address, and they're gonna be going through, like, every aspect of you. That's what. So even if, like, and honestly, somebody like Mizkif, because we know he's such a shitty dude. Honestly, that honestly is probably because this lawsuit is probably so frivolous, and probably because he has no choice, he probably has no shot of winning this. This, honestly, because we know he's a very he's very aggressive when it comes to attacking people and to cause drama for them. He very well may be paying for this lawsuit because, one, he has money, and two, he knows he has no chance, but he just wants to F with Emiru and Asmon. So this could, I hate to say it, but this could be a way of him doxing them, where he's so mad at them for what they're doing, he can afford to lose the lawsuit and be fine money-wise, but he's trying to take it out because by suing them, a lot of their personal information is going to come out, and his fans, fanatics, people that are crazy for him can now dox them, or now we'll get a bunch of information about these people. And that's what I mean about, like, so this isn't totally a loss for him. It may be a terrible lawsuit. He may lose it, but in a way he can kind of get after them and make their this honestly makes their lives, it could make their lives far more dramatic, and it is a way of messing with them. You know what I mean? Like just getting their last names out there. I'm sure their addresses are going to be looked into. There's so many things, because now his lawyers have access to like a bunch of personal info about them. I don't want to say, in my opinion, I feel like this could be a form of way of doxing them, or doxing them, or at least putting more personal information about them out there, even if they're not guilty of anything. Even though he's the one suing them, but because he knows he's going to lose, he's just willing to lose the money to make their lives more miserable. You know what I mean? So it's another form of doxing, said Veronica. Yeah, basically what I was saying. Oh man, I figured that's awful. Yeah.
My channel. So he's saying that essentially the two main defendants, which are essentially Emaru and Asmongold, have defamed him with untrue statements, etc., and have published these to millions and millions of people. Now, the big problem with defamation is that...
Oh, I think he's going to talk about it. But yeah, the big problem with defamation is that you have to, without a doubt, I'll let him explain. I'm sure he's going to say it. He's the legal guy.
You're going to need to prove it at the actual malice phase. And actual malice means that they actually had a high standard of malice against you, not just they said something that they were mistaken about, but they knew it was wrong and they had actual malice. That's going to be hard.
Yeah, that's essentially what he's saying, is defamation's a hard thing to prove, because not only do you, like, if I were to say somebody in my chat, or if I were to say some celebrity, George Clooney, he beats his dogs or something, or he's a bad person or something. Like, if I were to make an accusation or claim like that, about George, I don't know why I brought it in George Clooney, but just because I said something like that, I would say George Clooney is an animal abuser or something. You know what I mean? That isn't the aspect that causes the defamation. What you would also have to prove is that in a different time or in a different stream or at some other point that I also made it known that I want to cause a pain to George Clooney or something. So not only do you need the part that's the defaming, but you need proof that I want to defame, that I am defaming you. That's why defamation is such a hard thing to prove in a court of law. So not only do you have to say, oh, not only did Chaz say that George Clooney is an animal abuser, he also said 2 weeks ago that he hates George Clooney and he wouldn't, or he would love to say that George Clooney is an animal abuser. You know what I mean? So there's like two different avenues that you'd have to prove to make defamation.
The last one, count 3, is declaratory judgment against OTK, Mythic, and King, which essentially is saying, hey, look, these guys breached their agreements, breached their bonds that they had over the management fees. So these management fees were not owed, and these were unlawful. So that's a breach there to divest the plaintiff Miskiff of his interest in the company. So those are the 3 main claims there. So my analysis of those 3 claims is that the breach of contract is once again the strongest, but it's entirely based on the contract. The letter from OTK hurts Miskiff's case. That's going to absolutely damage him and damage his ability to go forward on this. Losing revenue because you've been, out. So all of that is going to pretty on notice. So trying to say more than enough.
All right, I think that's thank you so much, Legal Mindset. Very much appreciate your video. I feel like I got the gist of that. That's interesting though. I was not expecting Miskiff. I mean, although again, he's very vindictive, and obviously I think it's, pretty blatant that he is not a good guy. So it's not entirely surprising that he's willing to throw some money to make Asman and and Emaru kind of annoy them, kind of find ways of having weirdos out there to attack them. Again, that's my view of that. We'll move on. I wasn't expecting it, but it's not surprising that Miskiff's doing that. She had too many stalkers anyways. Let me feed them more personal info. Exactly, Veronica Rose. Exactly. And he mentioned that's an aspect that he knew about Emaru. He was, they were dating. He knew that she had stalkers and that she has weirdos. So what's something that I can do to make her more mad at me? put more personal information out there that people can access and, you know, harass her for. Again, that's my opinion. I don't know for sure, just to legally cover my own rear end about me saying anything. That's my opinion of what's happening. I don't know for sure. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not Miskiff, but that's what I have a feeling he's trying to do. Is he's being vindictive and trying to go at her a little bit. It's his only way he can really go after her. I mean, they're not dating anymore, so I don't know. I just did chest. My chest is sore as heck. It's so creepy and gross, said Skylar. Yeah. Right, that sucks, Veronica. And to be fair, she called that out, Emiru, but before, when she put that initial video out there making the accusations against him. If she put the video, or she had said that he's threatened before to utilize calling her an animal abuser and saying she abused her pets, her bunnies. She said that in that previous video. She said he's threatened me with putting out information that blackmailing me and saying I'm a bad pet owner and with my bunnies. And guess what he did in that video he put out where he was talking about it? He blamed her for being a bad pet owner and being bad with her bunnies. Clearly, the guy is super vindictive and is willing just to say anything just to make himself look good. So it's like, is it a stretch to say that he's suing her just to dox her and make things miserable for her and Osmond? No, I mean, it's like super obvious. Yeah. Well, all right, everybody. That's 2 hours. That's a lot more than I thought I was going to be able to make out of ChazmaN Live. I think I'm definitely good there. Again, sorry for there not being any major video for this stream. I guess not every week you're going to have something crazy happen. Watch. I bet you something tomorrow, something insane happens, that I'll have to wait a whole week to talk about for next Thursday. Crazy the way he proved her right, said Veronica Rose. Oh yeah, well, because she knows him. She dated him. I mean, I guess it's not hard to know, you know, you date somebody for a year. I mean, I'm sure she knows. Well, especially because he flat out said it. You know, he's like, "Oh, I'll talk bad about you behind your back about your pets." So, yeah, again, sorry, no major video. I mean, I guess some of those were fun. Some smaller videos. I appreciate so much all of the content creators out there. Hopefully I was able to change the content enough. True. Yeah. All right, everyone. Yeah, that's ChazmaN Live for this week. Like I said, hopefully next week we'll have some big chunkier drama or tea that kind of pops up. We'll see. But yeah, that's it. Like I said, join me in I'd say give me about 15 to 20 minutes and we'll jump in and play some Persona and we'll try and finish the game tonight. So yeah, thank you so much everyone for joining me for ChazmaN Live. I'll see you guys in just a little bit. I got to set up the stream and do some stuff, put the dog outside, so I'll be back with you guys. Just give me a little bit of time. All right. Night, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in a bit.